only on
They were so impressed with your resolve.
You're listening to Cybulski Company on TSN 1050. Sitting in for James, here's Brian Hayes.
Dave Naylor's with me, and Steve-O is in the house from Jackass. He's written a new book entitled Professional Idiot, a Memoir. He's going to be at Chapters right here downtown across from the Chum Building at 7. Steve-O, what's up, man?
You know, I'm an author.
You're an author now?
Yeah. I wrote my life story. The story of a young boy who didn't like school, who wound up shoving things up his butt for money.
How did you get to that point, though? I mean, forget how you got to writing the book. Like, how did you get to a point where you're like, and we'll get to the book momentarily, but where you're like, this will be a good idea. I'm going to just start doing stuff that nobody else in the right mind would actually do.
Yeah, I was an attention-hungry little kid, and I did all these, you know, like stupid things for attention. I mean, I remember being like 8 years old and unscrewing a salt shaker and just kind of consuming like piles of salt to try to impress my schoolmates. And that was kind of like just my personality, you know. I got real into skateboarding at a pretty young age. When I was 15, my dad won a video camera in a golf tournament. He stuffed it in his closet. I stole it. I opened up the box. I started filming skateboard videos all over London, where I went to high school. And that was, you know, my deal for a while. Then I got into like alcohol and drugs in high school. I put down the skateboard, but I kept videotaping. I always went back to the skateboard, but it was at the University of Miami where I went straight out of high school. That, you know, I didn't want to go to class. All I wanted to do was jump off the diving boards at the pool and ride my skateboard. And I had this girlfriend, and she saw that I wasn't going to class and that I was basically headed nowhere. She said that she was looking into her future and couldn't see me in it.
Who hasn't had that talk, though?
Right. And, you know, I was really heartbroken when this girl dumped me. And at that point, instead of jumping off the diving boards, what I did was I started looking around for apartment buildings to throw myself off of, you know, into shallow pools, and just I started doing all these crazy stunts, and I was really like wanting this girl to worry about me. I wanted her to be worried that I was gonna die, and I was videotaping all these crazy stunts, you know, like while I was heartbroken, and you know, I made videos, and to compare the videos that I had made skateboarding in high school to these stunt videos I was making at the University of Miami, the reactions to them were just a world apart. You know, like in high school, it was like, oh, you made a video, that's cool. And then when I started showing people this footage of me like dangling off like 12-floor balcony railings by my bare hands, you know, and like jumping off of like apartment buildings into shallow pools, like people were like, dude, they were genuinely shocked and they were like, dude, you're
I would think.
Concerned, crazy, like you're crazy, this whole thing. And I mean, I could just sense, you know, like just seeing the difference between like there were these reactions, man. I thought, wow, man, like I'm onto something here, you know, like the way people are reacting to this stunt footage, I'm onto something. And I knew I couldn't bring myself to go to class. I knew I couldn't keep a job. And I thought, all right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a crazy maniac with a video camera.
So when you have that as your natural talent, how do you hone that? Where do you go to hone that? I
dropped out of the University of Miami, and that was my story. I'm going to be a stuntman. I'm going to be a crazy famous stuntman. And I was homeless for like 3 years. All this crazy stuff happened, and I wasn't making any progress at all towards like actually having a career. And I found out about Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Clown College. I hitchhiked like from New Mexico to Colorado to audition for it. I wound up getting in, which is pretty hilarious. I have a cousin who
you have to write the SAT for that college or no?
No. I have a cousin who lives in Toronto, and at the time when I got into clown college, which was harder to get into than Harvard, statistically speaking, my cousin was going to mortician school. Right. So our mothers, I remember like, before I left for clown college, our mothers were sitting together at the kitchen table, getting hammered, just cracking up, arguing over whose son was a bigger loser. The one who would be embalming dead bodies, or the one who would have like the floppy shoes and the big red nose. And you know, like I had all this crazy stunt footage, and by this point I was doing like fire breathing acrobatics simultaneously, and like all of the stunts really on my own. I had put together quite the skill set. Still not getting anywhere with it, but I thought that if I could get into this clown college and have the name Ringling Brothers to brag about, that this might bring legitimacy to all of my antics with the home video, which is funny because I went to clown college seeking legitimacy.
The biggest oxymoron of all time. That's crazy.
And it kind of it worked, you know. And I wound up having a career as a circus clown, which was hilarious in and of itself. But that was a viable way to make a living. I never put the camera down. I kept doing the stunts, and ultimately, you know, Jackass came to be. And you know, my last performance in the circus, within a half an hour of washing off my makeup, I was puking up a goldfish, you know, and the rest is kind of history. Obviously, like, as soon as Jackass came out, I took to just abusing all of the opportunity that this measure of fame afforded me. And of course, like, you know, when that happens, you're playing with fire, and of course, like, you know, I got burned, and it's just been a super wild ride, and you know, it's not a flattering story. You know, I kid around, like, sort of not really even kidding, that a suitable title for this book would have been Confessions of a Douchebag. You know, like, really, yeah. I'm just not, you know, that's what came clear when I took a step back and I really objectively looked at this story and I laid it out and I wrote this book. It occurred to me, like, wow, I've been a douchebag my whole life.
Well, you didn't go with that title. It's Professional Idiot, a memoir. You're going to be down at Chapters at John and Richmond. That's a little bit more professional, right? Professional Idiot. That's actually going to be. I can see New York Times written all over this.
It was either Professional Idiot or Tears on My Jizz Rag.
Okay, well, listen, flip the coin, right? Either
Just in case.
And I think the film adaptation, if there ever was.
That's
one,
right.
yeah,
Exactly. Well, if you come up with a second book, I mean, why not? You're a young guy. You can still come up with more material. So you were telling us off the air, you've got some ties here in Toronto. You just mentioned your aunt, and you've got a Canadian passport.
I
So
do,
tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I was born in England. Dad was born in the States. Mom was born in Canada. So that makes me triple national. I have 3 valid passports. And what I was saying, and I say it all the time, I do not have a possession that I value more than my Canadian passport. And I really mean that, man. Like, the other thing I was saying is that you don't have to be particularly pessimistic to see that America is going down the toilet. You know, it really is. With all of its debt, all of its, you know, these wars, all of the borrowing that it's doing that it can't pay back. You know, it's really, already Americans are really suffering. And the, you know, it's just a matter of time before all these foreign banks just wake up and stop lending American money, at which point the bottom falls out of the dollar. America turns into a third world country.
And you come up here.
You come up here with your passport.
And you know, and I mean, really, like, Canada is a notoriously difficult country to get into. And you guys need to keep it that way, because you're going to have 300 million Americans clamoring to get into this country.
Just dying to get up here.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Well, I don't know. Is it cool? Am I just saying that at this point? I don't think it is.
It's sad, but Canada's in such a different position. I mean, if you look at the Canadian dollar, it's so strong right now. You guys have natural resources up here that where you don't really, you're not relying on other countries. You guys are basically self-sufficient. You're not borrowing a ton of money. Your dollar's really strong, and you're not tied down in a bunch of wars that the way America is. So, you know, I mean it. That, like, that's just to qualify what I say is that I don't have a possession I value more than my Canadian passport.
Well, it's a pretty cool story. And listen, Steve-O, best of luck. Thanks for popping in here, man. And I'm sure there's going to be a ton of people down there at Chapters again. Steve-O will be over there at 7, the corner of John and Richmond. The book is entitled Professional Idiot, a Memoir. Keep in touch, because this could be pretty cool going forward.
Hey, thanks so much, man. Much appreciated, guys.
That's Steve-O from Jackass. Again, check him out, 7 p.m. They'll be down at the Chapters, John and Richmond.